All right, welcome to another episode of Off-Season Grades. And today we go down to Gainesville, Florida for the defending national champion Florida Gators. Ty Golden, man, he did it with a bunch of mid-major transfers last year. Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, Will Richard. Well, they're all gone. But who's here? We got former Florida Gator assistant coach Matt McCall to break it all down with us. Give us his offseason grade, which we know what it's going to be. Like, I don't even know why we're going to go there and allow you to give them a grade because you're going to give them like an A or an A+.
I'll do my job. I'll be
Okay.
biased. I won't be biased. I won't be here. The Gator goggles.
They're off. They're off. All right. Okay. I like it. I like
We're
it.
gonna put them right here to the side. Take
All
the
right.
Gator goggles off.
This is a completely different backcourt, not a different team. The front court has remained the same, which is absolutely loaded. But you got a couple guys in the backcourt. They loaded up. And I was worried for a minute. They got Xavier Lee early from Princeton. But late, you didn't kind of know where they're going to get another guard of significance. Well, they ended up getting Boogie Fland, the Arkansas transfer, after he withdrew from the NBA draft. You've got their whole front court back: Alex Condon, Thomas Houck, Ruben Chignello, Micah Hanlogden. I love saying all those names. I'm sure I screwed up a couple of them. They're a mouthful, though. They are a mouthful.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And they also have some different staff members as well. So there's a lot of change in Gainesville to talk about. Matt, what do you make of their offseason and their rebuild? Because that's what they had to do in the backcourt. Because not only did they lose Walt and Elijah and Will Richard, but Denzel Aberdeen, who most people thought was going to step into maybe that primary guard role, is also gone. He transferred to Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point, and it's interesting going back to the Final Four national championship game. Aberdeen was on with us. Yeah. He came out, he had the chain on, he had the glasses on. Couldn't have been happier. So a little bit surprising that he left, because if you're looking at it, he played a huge role the last couple of years. He's a Florida guy. He waited, hey, waiting your turn, coming off, impacting the game, win a national championship. And now he goes to play for the rival in Lexington. So it was a little bit shocking, but the numbers.
Well, he got a little bit more of this.
The numbers that were being thrown around, you're saying, okay, I get it. I understand. Where does Florida go from here? Lee was an early transfer. They got him pretty early, almost like the clock hit zero, national championship, streamers coming down, the Princeton transfers coming to Florida. And then they did something that Todd Golden hasn't really done before since he's been there. They took a high level transfer. Yeah. He hasn't done that. Look, Elijah Martin, call it what it is. We love Elijah Martin. We've had him on our show a number of different times. He didn't come off a great year.
No.
The expectations at FAU coming out of the Final Four, he had some injuries, struggled early, struggled late. Yeah. Nelly Davis was kind of the guy that year that, if you look at it, kind of handled and managed those expectations as long as Vlad Golden. Elijah didn't have a great year. He had to go to Florida to prove himself. So Boogie Fland, the 5-star recruit, he brings the camera crew with him on his visit. There's all kinds of social media being put out there. That's not something that Todd Golden has done in the past. His staff, and I think you bring up a great point, the turnover in his staff too. How does he manage that? Now, I'll say this about Todd Golden. He does not go outside and hire people that he has not worked with before or doesn't have a close relationship with. And I give him a ton of credit for that. But when you lose two of your guys to head coaching jobs, it's a different dynamic that he's got to figure out. Staff meetings are a little different. Who's running the offense? Who's running the defense? He gives his staff a lot of freedom. So be interesting to see how he handles that transition. But obviously with the transfers that they bring in, they lose Sam Alexis. Didn't play a huge role. He's now.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, but then you look at the guys that are back. Houck, Condon, Chinleyu, Clavzar, the Australian. I'm hearing reports out of Gainesville that he had a great summer. Look to him for him to play a big time role in the rotation, and and then the guys that they brought in. So the freshman, Alex Lloyd, CJ Ingram, Cornelius Ingram's son.
I like
Cornelius,
yes.
Two-way player at the University of Florida. won an SEC championship on the basketball team. Then Urban Meyer got there and said, no, you're not playing both anymore. Okay, you're on football scholarship. You will be with us full time. But C.J. Ingram, boy, a lot of talent, athleticism. Kind of reminds you of Elijah Martin a little bit, just with his length, maybe even bigger than Elijah.
He is
Going
bigger.
to take some time.
6'5".
Going to take some time. That's a freshman that's going to have an impact.
Yeah, I'll say this. If you had told me they would lose their 4 guards the way they did in Florida, and they don't have crazy NIL. They don't have Kentucky NIL or some of these other schools spending, $12 million plus. They've got good NIL now. I would have said they're in major trouble for this year. Getting Condon back was huge for the front court. Huge, because people thought he was probably gone. Maybe a late first-round pick. Didn't play great in the NCAA tournament until that title game. So he made the right decision, I think, to come back. But to me, the Boogie Fland addition might have saved Florida in a sense of having an opportunity to be in the mix again as one of the 10, 12, 15 teams that's going to have a chance to go to a Final Four, win the whole thing. That was pivotal. Now the question, and I have questions with Florida.
So do I.
I'm not saying my biggest question is how do the pieces fit now? Because you don't have a real 3-man. You don't have another guard, and you got 2 guys that really had the ball in their hands a lot last year. Lee at Princeton, Boogie Flam when he was healthy at Arkansas. And oh, by the way, when he was healthy at Arkansas, last I checked, I think they were 0-5 in league play. And when he went down, it changed things. So I want to see, can Boogie Flam be a winning player? And it's probably unfair to call him not that because he only played half a year in college basketball before he got hurt. But I want to see how those two coexist, which not that worried about because, again, the more point guards, the merrier for me, as long as they can shoot. And both these guys can shoot. My biggest question and the X factor to me becomes the 3-man spot or whoever's going to play that third perimeter. Right now, they're going to try to fit Thomas Houck into a position, into a spot that I don't think he fits. I think it's kind of like Kansas State did it with Coleman Hawkins a year ago. And early on, it was like, no, this is not going to work defensively.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's a concern of mine. And Thomas Houck, I mean, you could say the play in the national championship game that maybe changed the game for Florida was his and one on the break.
Oh, yeah.
But when he's at the 4 spot, he stretches defenses. He makes you have to make a decision. Are you going to switch 1 through 4? Even when he plays at the 5 some, are you going to switch 1 through 5 because of how he can shoot? Can he put it on the deck well enough to play that spot? Right. Who's he guarding? Right? Like, can he defend a 3 in the SEC? Can he keep guys?
Those are like 6'3" guards, a lot of them.
No question. No question. So
Alabama. Like, how is he going to match up against Alabama's perimeter group, right? I mean, they're going to throw 4 guards out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be, I think there will be a place and a time for Florida to do it and be really, really big. But this is where CJ comes into play. Yeah. CJ Ingram, can he be the guy? Now, I'm not saying to start the season he's going to be the guy. And there's one transfer we haven't talked about. A.J. Brown from Ohio. 40% from 3, 6 20-plus point games. He gives them another score. Is he the guy that maybe plays into that role? Because I'm with you. I just think, how's the floor spacing if Thomas Houck's going to be at the 3?
Right.
In terms of just, middle drives, baseline drives, is the floor a little more clogged? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially early. The concerns for me would be how do the pieces fit? And I know we're talking a lot about last season, but bringing Elijah Martin in with Walter Clayton and, Will Richard, high character guy coming in there, not going to ruffle feathers. You knew when the game was on the line, you knew who had the ball in their hands.
Yeah.
You knew it. Yep. Now it's kind of like,
all
right, who is it? Is it Boogie? Is it Lee? How are those guys going to coexist? Like I said,
and are they dogs?
Golden has not done this before.
Matt, are they dogs? Because the one thing Walt and Elijah were were
And Will.
absolute dogs. Like Elijah bought into defense. Walt was just like that dude that never changed the expression on his face. He was a straight up killer in the offensive end. Like, I'm not going to say they got lucky because I think they did a great job evaluating. I think a lot of people knew how good Walt and Elijah could be, but what they did was develop them, right? They developed them. It was
Phenomenal.
a perfect fit. But I don't think I think this backcourt is going to be very different in their strengths from what Florida's backcourt was last year, which was a bunch of dudes that understood their roles, bought into them. You know, Walt was, like you said, he was the alpha dog. He was the guy, but Elijah bought into defense. Denzel Aberdeen bought into coming off the bench and, you know, being a guy that could run the team and, you know, make some shots when he needed to, but like be a piece. Will Richard was kind of the unsung hero to the entire team because, again, all he heard about was Walt and Elijah, and he just did his thing and never complained. So the chemistry of that team last year went a long way to them winning a national title. And the pieces, I said it when I saw him in Charlotte. That was like the first thing that I remember saying and probably tweeting was, man, the pieces for this team just fit together perfectly. And I just don't know if that's the case. Again, they can win a ton of games, and they're going to win a ton of games. But you're talking about now having aspirations of returning to the Final Four, winning the whole thing, defending for the first time since your Florida Gators did it back in 06 and 07. I think that's a large task. That's a mammoth task anyway.
Sitting on the Final Four chair, Final Four flex there. Look, the concerns are the fit of all these guys. And how does Todd Golden, being a young head coach, losing two of his assistant coaches, manage and handle the expectations that are going to be put on this group early? Now, if I'm him, I'm sitting there in the locker room telling him, look, we just lost 45 points per game. We just lost 3 NBA players. We're not defending anything. We're trying to chase another championship. I'm selling the fact that we didn't win the SEC regular season. We're trying to accomplish things that we haven't done. But how does he manage everything that's been coming at him in the offseason? How does he manage Boogie Flan, right? I mean, it was a show when he was on his visit. There was cameras everywhere. It was a show. He's never recruited a guy like that just in terms of the magnitude, one of the most sought-after transfers in the country. He took dogs, like you said. He took guys that had – Elijah Martin had a chip on his shoulder. He had something to prove. Will Richard, high character. Walter Clayton Jr. coming back to the state of Florida. Like, those guys had something to prove. Does Boogie Flan have that same chip and that same edge? And then how does Todd Golden manage the expectations that are going to be put on this team from the beginning?
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
So my question to you is, Billy was older, obviously.
Oh yeah.
When you guys won the first one, you had everybody back. I mean, that was the advantage that you guys had. You had everybody back. But again, it's not like it's a completely revamped team. Like some teams right now, you have nobody back, maybe a guy or two. You have your whole front court back. How do you, if you're Todd Golden, handle it? As you said, like, well, we're not defending anything. How did Billy Donovan? I remember him saying, right, don't drink the poison or whatever it was.
Yeah. You know what? And it was the leadership. It wasn't just Coach Donovan. It was Al Horford. It was Joakim Noah, who the year before would have been the number 1 pick in the draft, telling our team, we need to calm down. We need to get back to the bottom of the ladder and work our way up. It was going through some adversity, losing in Las Vegas to Kansas in overtime, losing at Florida State, right? Like this team this year, this Florida Gator team needs to go through some of that. They need to get hardened. Yeah. They need to get more of that edge. They gotta go through some of that adversity and see how these pieces fit.
I love the bigs. I'll say this, Matt. I do love the bigs in their maturity.
Yes.
Like, I think all those guys, we were around them enough last year on their run, and I was at the SEC tournament, and I really like the way they kind of go about things. Their approach, it's kind of a professional approach with Condon and Hauk and Hanlogton and those guys. So I'm not worried about them. I think you made a good point. Like Boogie Fland, to me, as much as we say the X factor is the three-man spot, which I think that's the biggest concern. But the X factor might be Boogie Fland and how he fits in and his role, and is he able to? Because he can be a straight two, like he can be a two and give the ball to. Because I think Xavier Lee is much more one, but he can score in a variety of ways too. Like the beauty of this is you've got two guys that can both make plays for themselves, scoring in a variety of ways, and also be playmakers for the bigs. So I like that part. I keep going back to it. The X factor to me and the biggest concern is that three-man spot. Clearly.
Yeah. I would agree with you there, but I would also throw in another X factor for me is Chinleyu. When you look at what Florida did 2 years ago in the transfer portal, they addressed the issues that they had on the defensive end of the floor. Todd Golden's teams could always score, but 2 years ago they couldn't guard anybody. They were near the bottom of the SEC in terms of defensive efficiency, and their defensive numbers. So they went out and got Chinleyu, just this anchor who can guard pick and rolls. He can move his feet. He can keep guards in front of him. Can he take another step forward this year? Can he take that next step? And then Thomas, where are they playing him? I know the talk is early that they're going to start. Maybe he starts at the three. Maybe where are they utilizing him to bring out his talents and to really help that team? Because I am concerned floor spacing wise if he's at the three.
All right, it's time for you to give a grade of the offseason of the Florida Gators. You took him off, so I don't want to see some like, well, I'm a Gator, I got to be good with his staff. I'm gonna give him an A plus just because I got to get access. I'm one of them. I got to be revered around the halls in Gainesville.
Okay, so I think a couple things here. One, I'm concerned about the turnover that they've had on their staff, because he had his guys and they built that program, and he relied on both of them a lot. So that's a concern for me. And just Coach Golden managing the expectations for this group, and how does he handle a guy? And I don't know Boogie Fland. I have no idea. I don't know his character, so I'm not knocking that at all. But this is a little bit of a different recruit that he's taken in the transfer portal than the guys that he's taken in the past. How does he mesh him into with what the culture is at the University of Florida? But you lose Denzel Aberdeen, and you're saying, oh, man, you may have gotten somebody better than him. So in Boogie Fland, you may have gotten somebody better. So I give the Gators a solid A. I'm not going to go A plus because there are some concerns that I have out there. New staff, new chemistry. But I think bringing Boogie Fland in, if it works and it fits with Lee and the other guys that they have, and the guy in the front court coming back, this Gator team could get to another Final Four. So I give the Florida Gators a solid A.
All right, that's fair. I'm going to give them an A minus just because I would have liked to have seen them get a big wing that was proven. And I love Ingram. I love Ingram, man. When I saw him on the circuit, and especially with him going just all hoop now, where he was a two-sport guy, I just think it might take some time for him. I think you're talking about maybe a year adjustment for CJ Ingram to be able to be a real impact guy. And, A.J. Brown, we just don't know coming out of Ohio. Yeah, he shot it well, and again, he'll have enough around him that maybe that's your fifth guy. Maybe you just stick him in the corner and like, hey, make shots, my man. You're going to be wide open with all these other guys. That's my one concern. But, I mean, they did an unbelievable job because they got Condon back. They kept their whole front court. And they added a guy in Lee that they had targeted that fits kind of what they've had, and what they've been able to develop through the portal. And then you made the right call and were able to get Boogie Fland late after maybe missing on a couple guys and saying no to a couple guys that wanted to come. So I'm going to give them an A minus, be a little bit more objective than you with the Florida Gators. And
But I think,
Expectations.
Jeff,
Or
I just the
prediction.
expectations, but
Prediction.
retention to me gives you a half a point. I mean, you get 5 guys that played significant minutes back off a national championship team. That retention, like Thomas Howell could have put his name in the portal, probably gone anywhere he wanted. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. He could have gone to BBN. He could have gone to Indiana. He could have gone to a Blue Blood. Anybody would have taken
Could have made $3 million.
easily.
Yeah.
So the retention piece to me gets you an extra half a point at least. You get
That's
5
fair.
guys back that played significant minutes on a national championship team. That's impressive for Todd Golden.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Prediction for this Florida Gators team, I'll start. I mean, I think, again, this is a team that, should be able to win a ton of games. Will finish in the top 3 in the SEC, maybe win the league, go deep in the tournament again because they have 2 really good guards who can make plays. They're bigs. They can withstand an injury up front, and it won't affect them absolutely at all. I worry a little bit about the spacing, finding that 3-man. So I'll say an Elite 8, being in the top 10 virtually all season long and getting maybe to an Elite 8 and maybe, getting fortunate and getting back to the Final Four, somewhere around there.
Yeah, second weekend on paper NCAA tournament team.
Yep.
On paper, this is a second weekend NCAA tournament team. Managing the expectations for this group, fitting the pieces together. If it's not going well early, how does that locker room mesh together? But on paper, this is a second weekend NCAA tournament team.
All right, there you have it. McCall, A. Goodman, A-. Florida Gators, off-season grades. Make sure you tune in to all our off-season grades on the Field of 68. We've got them, about 40 of them. Every team that you could really want, we break it down in the off-season. So make sure you tune into all those and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. For Matt McCall, I'm Jeff Goodman. We'll see you later.